Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, today's the 14th of July, 2018. I'm Roy Potter. Welcome to the Potter Expositor. I don't usually make early Saturday morning, well, it's not early anymore, live streams, but I just wanted to comment on a few things. I'm sure a lot of you are thinking the same thing I am. I noticed on Twitter this morning that a lot of people were saying that President Trump and the First Lady were not showing the proper etiquette to the Queen of England, that they didn't bow to her, that Trump didn't bow to her, that Melania didn't curtsy, and that Trump was walking in front of the Queen, and all this nonsense. As you can tell from the title of this video, we're not their subjects, first of all. That's required probably of British citizens. But is somebody trying to tell us that we're still citizens of the British Empire? Well, of course, there's a big historical argument about that. But I say to hell with it. Thank God President Trump didn't follow the so called proper protocol. You know, he's showing that the United States is standing up against the New World Order. I mean, that was a pretty gutsy thing to do. One of the few things that he's done on this trip that has been really, really important. So, kudos to President Trump for standing up and not subjecting the presidency of the United States and the American people to the protocols of the British crown and not subjecting us to those protocols or to that subjectivity. So thank you very much, President Trump and First Lady Melania. We're very grateful for that. It's about time that we cut these strings with the British Empire, the monetary system, and all that. Now, the other thing about that that's very important, and I noticed that there have been a couple of people who have said this already, but I just wanted to put it out. Uh, this is also spitting in the face of the Rothschilds and the New World Order and all of that. That's exactly what that was. And this is another proof that Trump is not being. I mean, he's having trouble with the New World Order and the deep state here in the U.S. The SES, the Senior Executive Service, which is all really part. It's controlled by the British Crown. I don't know if you understand that. You can go to Able Danger and get some information, or you can go to the American Intelligence Media and find the same thing. But and some other people are talking about it. But the fact of the matter is that Trump is standing up against these people, and that's pretty gutsy. So every day he proves more and more that he's not a subject to them. Our government, our deep state, our shadow government, though, is giving him a lot of trouble. What's coming up on Monday? Okay, remember we had that historic meeting he did with Kim Jong Un, right? North Korea trying to make peace. And of course, the deep state and the military-industrial complex and the shadow government doesn't want that. They want the chaos and the mass murder and the perpetual warfare and the funding of the military-industrial complex machine, right? So he went to North Korea and he's still working on that, and they're trying to stop that. Still they're saying, oh, North Korea's starting up their nuclear program again. They're not stop all this nonsense. Bad information. Remember, the IC's doing this. The MSM, I'll say it again. The mainstream media is the propaganda arm of the intelligence community of the United States and other nations, okay? Particularly the CIA. So, Operation Mockingbird, all of that is still in full force. And they're at war with the President of the United States and the American Constitutional Republic and its people. Well, at any rate, so now on Monday, thank God, Trump has ignored all of the warnings not to do this. He's saying, basically he's telling the deep state and the shadow government, you guys have fomented this Cold War and this whole thing in Europe with Russia for decades. You started this, and I'm not going to let it stop me. And he and Putin are meeting in Helsinki on Monday. God bless him. Then what happens? Okay. Well, we have the Strzok testimony, right? Which, if anybody watched that, you think he's the only demon in the FBI and in the three-letter agencies? Oh, no. Oh, no. Yeah, there are good, strong-ass door kickers that are good men and women in there. But a lot of the people that are running it and the little lackeys down that are keep trying to climb up the ladder, and there are a lot of them, are just like Strzok. Okay? And that place needs to be cleaned out. Well, we had that. Well, then to alter the whole news cycle, what do? Mueller comes up with this asinine thing about indicting 12 Russians, right? And I noticed that Dan Coates came up with this thing about, the Russians have been doing this cyber warfare and we really have to do something about it because it could be another 9/11 type of thing. I'm a little surprised at Dan Coates for that, but I'm looking at what he's trying to do here, and I'm guessing that Dan Coates, he's the director of national intelligence. Okay, he replaced Clapper. So I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, well, okay, this might be a way for Trump to say, okay, we're watching the Russians so that they can't, or they're trying to lessen the attacks on him. But regardless, the point is the deep state now comes up with these bogus charges again, right? Even Colonel Anthony Schaefer, Lieutenant Colonel Anthony Schaefer, is saying this whole thing of this new indictment from Mueller and from Rosenstein is frankly bull manure. Okay, that's what he's saying, and so I'm very comfortable with saying that I agree. A lot of people are going through these reports that supposedly are being sent by CrowdStrike and by a supposed ex-Marine. That doesn't mean he's a good guy. I'm sorry if you know who I'm talking about. That doesn't mean he's a good guy. He works for CrowdStrike. No, that doesn't mean that. And all of the information in there is very suspect. A lot of the conservators are looking at this and saying, wow, this is cool because the MI has had the server since so-and-so. Oh, they got in early, and the NSA and all that. I'd be real careful with that. That's all I'll say, okay? But the point is that they came up with this baloney to try to change the news cycle and derail the good that Trump and Putin are trying to do. And a lot of us have been calling for this for a long time. To hell with the deep state and the shadow government. I'm not saying we don't need a good defense. We do. But we don't need to have all of these lies and deceits to keep these perpetual warfares going and to line the pockets of the military-industrial complex and the politicians and the CEOs that gain from the misery that these things cause people in the world. It's time to throw them away. So thank God that Trump is going to be there and ignore all these people. But look how evil the deep state is for trying to change the news cycle on both the Strzok hearing, how asinine he looks, and the rest of the IC, the FBI and the CIA, etc. Sure cast. Can you imagine Wray keeping a guy like, you trust Wray? Keeping a guy like Strzok around? And I thought, I heard that Strzok was secretly, going along with the prosecution and was singing like a bird. Yeah, right. Lies. And as lies to deceive people. Along with that, I might as well say real quick, and this, I tweeted this out a few days ago, but I forgot to mention on my last live stream. Jacob Wohl is a good friend, a longtime friend of Don Trump Jr. And he basically came out this week. If you don't know about this, look on his Twitter feed, Jacob Wohl, W-O-H-L. He said that the Q thing is nonsense and is a deceitful project overall. So I just wanted to mention that. And I also want to mention that there are a lot of people talking about, remember Q said we had the server. Oh, that sounds really good. There's some people that are really gloating over this. I'd be very careful about that. Okay, this is going to be an interesting trap for a lot of you that have said that. Okay, interesting. I want to refer you back to the situation with make sure I've got this right here. Yeah, I forget her name. I can't remember. So I'll skip that. There's a lady, her last name is McQueen. I mentioned it on the last video. Anyway, she said some things that I thought were really important. There's some indications that some of the sages on Twitter, and that's where most of this happens, might actually be controlled or at least being fed information that they're interpreting wrong, number one, because they sound real smart. Certainly they sound smarter than me. Or they're possibly getting information out there that is doubtful. And one of the things that she pointed out was that one of these, and I won't mention the name of the person, I think it's a guy, I'm pretty sure it is. He said that misinformation is necessary, but Q is out there to teach people, but misinformation is necessary. She made a good point that you can't be a teacher and give misinformation. So that right there is basically what that does is that cancels the other one out. Do you see that? They're diametrically opposed. So on the face of that, it's a lie. It's a lie of a substantive lie, if you understand what I'm saying. Why am I still hammering Q? Hey, why not? It's so absurd now that anybody who keeps following that has really got a problem. And I don't mean for information. I mean swearing that it's more important than doing your own research and not being corralled. And worse, calling those who don't follow it blasphemers, traitors, deep state, all of that, because that's not what we are. All right? We're going to get the stuff going that we need to get going without the benefit of basically a Ponzi scheme, which it's been called, and it's also to take down Trump. In a few months here, this whole Q thing is going to fall, and it's going to take everybody with it that would otherwise be good Trump supporters, and they're going to be tainted by this thing. And it's going to taint Trump too, unless we're really careful. Yes, somebody asked me if I served in the military. Yes, I did. Are you kidding me? You don't know that by now? Go look. Wow. Of course I did. Here we go again. Well, I'm not here for that. Okay, so I think that's all I wanted to say. This is already too long. I know I'm yelling again, but I'm not sure how the phone volume works, and it's raining here on top of it, so I want to make sure that you can hear. Yeah, well, I'm not going to attack anybody else. I've done enough here for this morning. So I just wanted to say those few things. There's probably something I'm forgetting about. Let me go through the list here and make sure. Again, I think it's important that the Rod Rosenstein Mueller briefing about this idiotic idea of another set of these indictments against Russians that they'll never see, and of course the situation with Dan Coats, which is confusing. Both of those are to detract from what Trump is trying to do to bring peace in the world. He's trying to do the right thing, and they're trying to stop him. And we need to get behind him on this. Again, he didn't bow to the Queen. The FLOTUS didn't curtsy, and Trump just walked anywhere he wanted to. He's sending a strong message, and I'm behind him 100%, and I hope you all are too, okay? Yeah, I know there's no notifications coming from me. This whole thing, you know that they're playing with the entire thing on the internet, obviously. So, that's just something we can't help right now. All right, that's all I got. I've got some other things to do, but I wanted to hit that up real quick. And yeah, Q has been bashing vets, which I'm not going to name her name, but she says she's a vet and that she still works for the IC. I'm not going to name which agency, but she still goes along with Q bashing vets the way they have. And it's not just Q, it's the Q people. Primarily, of course, the guy that Stranahan was debating here earlier in the week. But that guy has been a frontliner for the Q thing for a long time. So in essence, he is speaking for Q, and they'll try to get around that. I'm sure they're trying to do some damage control on that now, but yeah, that's true. Bashing vets, basically what they're doing, trying to push us into war. Think about it. Everything that Q is doing is deep state propaganda, all of it. Shadow government propaganda to keep us in war, to say the government's okay, trust Sessions, trust Wray. Anybody who thinks you can trust Wray after you see him leaving Strzok in there. And Sessions. What was this? We heard Sessions said that, he pulled Strzok's clearance. And then what did Strzok say at the testimony? Oh, no, he still got his TSSCI. Well, somebody's lying, right? Somebody's lying. All right. I hope you have a great day. God bless Donald Trump and all of his righteous endeavors, and may he have the courage to make the right decision always. All right. Hey, guys out here, take care. Nice to see you.